Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here we have an updated version of the Forge Guard Minion build that I went with as my league starter for Harbinger of Ruin in last Epoch, and in this video we're going over more in depth how the build works and how to get started and some tips and tricks along the way here. I managed to reach my goal that I have with this build, reaching 1k corruption and defeating normal Amulet as well, and we could push even more here, but for that I would have to do some bigger changes I feel to the gear and skills for it to really feel good, so that's probably going to be for another video. Now, if you take a look on what we're using right now here, the build is focusing on spawning forged weapons and using the Giga Shad Manifest Armor to kill everything for us. And the both scale of the weapon that you are using, the stats on it, and providing us with a lot of different combinations that you can choose from, a lot of different weapons, and especially for the end game when taking advantage of legendary potential on unique items, which I will go over more later in this guide. It's a very friendly play style, using Warpath to summon our weapons for us and make us able to be on the move at the same time here. And we're also getting 20% extra block chance from Warpath as well, making it very easy to get block cap on this build, which is also the new passive on Forge Guard, Forge Master's Might, which makes us able to equip a two-handed weapon with a shield for extra damage mitigation. And if you're lucky, you could also get over 4% to all resistance while channeling on your Relic as well, basically taking care of all your resist problems, and this makes us able to focus on more like getting health on the rest of our gear instead, which is really helpful. We're also using Symbol of Hope to provide buffs to ourselves and our minions with damage and extra health regen, and we can also work as a panic button here if you would need it, consuming all the charges for this, and this will make us take less damage for a short duration. Void Cleave is also something that we're using, and you can use it as a mobility skill, but mostly important we do get a huge buff for our minions as well, providing just extra flat added fire damage to them when charging over them, boosting the damage on them even more. And we're also using Shield Charge from time to time, mostly to make us able to skip and move extra fast just through echoes. Now, when you are playing this build, it is maybe a little bit different than others. What I usually do, I just focus on basically going for elites or bosses. I don't really stop to clear everything, and that's something that you want to decide if it's fine for you or not. But especially like it works kinda on lower corruptions. The minions just keep killing everything behind you, and the Manifest Armor do have an AoE attack that also helps a little bit with that. But overall, the only times that I really stop is on those bosses or elite units, and then I just move on and I stop on the next pack basically. How the minions work is basically where you are using your Warpath, the last enemy that you are hitting with that, the minions will focus. So do just go around spinning with Warpath on the elite and use your Void Cleave to boost them, and that will make them take care of business basically. And it can be a little bit weird if you are having more elites all around. Try just to focus on one first, take them down before you go to another, otherwise there can be a little bit of like rubber banding between those two elites, or if you have more basically. So yeah, try to focus on one before you go over to the next one. So here is the character right now, reached 99 on this character, and we have quite a decent health pool with around 600 health regen for this. We have capped resistance with 100% block chance, and a pretty decent pool of armor with the block effectiveness as well there. And yeah, so this is the character right now that we are using. Now if you take a look on the gear here, how is this build working? So the minions are scaling from your weapon, and here's the one I'm choose to use, and it's been working really well for me. Appetite Maw is a perfect fit for this build, and that's because it do provide so much damage for free basically. You get from the implicit itself there quite a bit of flat damage with increased physical damage and also increased minion physical damage, and then you have some extra flat melee void damage with also increased melee damage here, and that's from the unique itself. And then when you get 1 LP, More is what I would recommend you before you start this build, and you want to slap the melee critical strike chance there, a T7 if you can, and that basically makes the build just pop off basically. And if you do look up on Last Epoch tool, for example, you can check up the minion there, and it do says that they are physical indeed, and that's why this axe do scale quite well with that, because that added melee damage from the implicit there is going to be transferred to physical damage to the forged weapons, and then we also get the increased physical damage with increased minion physical damage as well on top of that. So it's really strong to start with overall, but you do have some other options, as I mentioned at the start of the video. Now, one of them is going to be Plague Dragon's Tongue, and here's something that I was playing around with, but we do lose out a little bit of damage from the one that I am using there. But as you can see, the implicit are quite strong. You have high flat melee damage with the melee critical strike chance. That makes it so we can actually start to focus on other T7 modifiers. And here's something that I went up with and got some critical multiplier with the melee critical strike chance in normal T5 there, as we do have the base on the implicit itself with some extra physical penetration there. You could also go for attack speed on this if you like to, but I went with the crit multi instead, because we do have the increased melee attack speed on the weapon from the unique itself, right? And that's also adding some extra melee physical damage as well, which is really strong for this weapon. And then another one is going to be this one, Surfing Fractures Tree. And same here, you have quite a high melee damage, not as high as the other ones, but it's on the upper hand here with the melee critical strike multiplier with physical penetration and even more added melee physical damage. So here's some other alternative that you can use. Now, More is quite easy to farm, right? Because it do drop from Oribus, so you can start to farm these once you get to just empowered monoliths basically. I do think they actually start to drop at 50 corruption, but yeah, when you get to empowered monoliths, you get to 100 corruption, right? And then you can just start to farm these axes basically from that boss. Now we continue on looking how the build works. We are now using 2 Phantom's Grip, and Phantom's Grip basically make it so the stats on your gloves apply to your forged weapon at X amount of effectiveness. This one has 100%, I have another one with 87%, and these two are added to each other, so around 200% you can go for as a max on both of the rings, right, in total. And you also get some other bonuses as well. You get +2 minion skills, you get +2 minion critical strike chance, that's going to be the base, and some added flat damage and so on. Now these two will add what you are using on your gloves basically. And for the gloves, we're using a Falcon's Fist. I showed them on the other video that we went over. And here, basically, Falcon's Fist is really unique ones. Usually you use these for your Falcon, right? That's what you are supposed to use them for. But this works really well for our forged weapon. Now, the first here, the most important part is that you want to get these with 1 LP on them, and that's going to be to get yourself the increased critical strike chance, preferred a T7 here, so you can get up to 100%. So from these rings, you will get around 200 effectiveness, right, from that. So that's going to boost this up to 200% increased critical strike chance. And then you have these rings, right, you have 4% minion critical strike chance. On each, that's going to be 8%, you have 5% from the base skill itself, that's 13%, and then you have 18% critical strike chance on your weapon, right? So that's up to 31% to start with. And then you increase that by 200% from these gloves, basically boosting up to around 90% from these items alone, which is super useful. Now we also have some extra critical strike chance from our Symbol of Hope as well, making us able to reach over 100% and yeah, guaranteeing crits all of the time. So that's how this is working. And back to the gloves here, they are really nice because you do also get the increased melee attack speed from the unique itself with some extra added melee fire damage also. And I was like to buy these quite early in the league, and they were basically free when we were purchasing them. Just bought them for 1k gold, you know. No one wants them, and yeah, they probably went up a little bit in price now, but really nice to go for. Also some increased melee attack speed for the LP there works great, but increased critical strike chance, the most important one, and yeah, really useful and helpful for this build. Taking a look on our relic here, we're using code of a raised sentinel. Here we get some juicy stuff. I went over at the start. You can get X amount to all resistance while channeling, or up to over 40% here. I went with this one because I had this with I got this with a health and health regen instead, and yeah, we are still making ourselves capped with this, and I'm going to try and use the new woven echo soon to boost up the actual unique itself, providing some increased armor, and also you can get up to 30% of the armor mitigation applies to damage over time, which is really strong. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. But yeah, health regen, and that percent there to all resistance while channeling is really nice to have with this, and basically makes us capped while we are spinning right. Super helpful. And for the shield, nothing have changed here. We're using the Mayans, the new shield here, and just slam a T7 block chance, and the shield itself has quite high block chance from the start here, and yeah, this is what you want to go for to start out with, and you get a lot of just mitigation from this shield, and yeah, block effectiveness there, but the bottom part there, you get a part of your block effectiveness applies to damage over time as it has been blocked, and yeah, basically makes us mitigate even more damage to damage over time, because block effectiveness makes it so you take less damage from a hit that you take, right? So yeah, super strong shield, and well, if you get more LP on this, you can get more block effectiveness if you are lucky, right? And that's probably what you want to go for, or what I would go for at least. Death Rattle is something that you use for the minion critical strike multiplier. Here's something that I want to do is to get that your minions actually take less damage, right? We have almost a max roll here, which is not good for us, but yeah, this was what I went for, and I also went with the increased minion health here, and that's just to make them stay alive a little bit more, basically. Then for one new item that we are using, it's a Lionel Helm with new set affixes on it, basically, and it's going to be from the Sun Forge set here, and this makes us able to get increased armor per forged weapon, and also some flat health regen here per forged weapon. Now I only have a T5 here, and you can make it a T7 if you are lucky, but that's going to be with some crafting. Now, I won't be able to do it on this one, but if you are using a rune of Havoc, for example, this will change the tiers around on the item, and if you do have a T7, but for me, for example here, I could try and sacrifice this T6 Manifest Armor to get a T6 Sunforge reforged set piece instead, right? Boosting those numbers up. So that's something that you can do for mid-maxing, but for now I just went with this. It's still super strong, giving us 72% increased armor and 36 flat health regen, right, from this node alone, which I feel is really worth it. Boost the same as we used before, got some health, movement speed, and the combination with the helm and the boots basically is really nice because it makes us take no extra damage from critical strike chance. The boots here have 45% reduced bonus taken from crits, and the helm you can get well, from 50 to or like 80 or something. I have 71% here, and yeah, as long as you get over 100%, you are good to go from these two items. Then the Champions Regalia, it's also nothing new from the previous video. Here, something that I really want to get is going to be the Void taken as physical. This is going to boost like our survivability by a ton for so many bosses, and Aberrath included, right? and I think we have around like a 60k effective hit pool right now with armor, and if you do get a like T6, T7, of course, which is going to be the best one, this will make us getting the same on void damage for this. Basically make us be able to take a bigger hit, right? It will just mitigate more damage and also degen, as we do have a lot of mitigation for that as well. And yeah, it's really helpful, and that's something that I aim for to get on the body armor here. One thing to keep in mind here is that you do need a +2 to Warpath here. And that's going to be to make us able to get your last point here in Juggernaut stance to get all that extra block chance. So still important that you get the Warpath +2 there, but it's good that this only is a +2. That's basically a T5 of this FX, so do keep that in mind. The belt is also the same as before. I would also try and get the one with armor instead, just to get some extra defense up. But yeah, go for health on basically all the items that you can. Really nice, as we don't really have to focus on any resist gear. And it do help out with this, and you do also have a lot of resist from your idols, which is going to be the next topic here. So increase health and also resist to get yourself capped basically, and that's basically what you want to go for most of your idols, right? Here I have another one, as I can spare some resist. This is going to give us some block effectiveness with also some health gain on block. Here's another one that gives you vitality with health regen, but also with your resist, right? Here's another one that I could spare just to boost a little bit more minion damage. And yeah, same goes for the other ones, just resist. Here we have armor, health and health regen. Super strong miner idols if you can spare them. They are quite expensive if you are playing trade, but they are really awesome to have basically. Now, something that I was using when I was playing around lower corruptions was using a Abyral circuit here, and also with Fingers of the Phantom. This will give you tons of movement speed, and what you want to go for, you can use a Finger of Phantom here, same as your Phantom's Fist. You just want to try and get increased critical strikes on this to be able to take advantage of the Phantom grip. Abyral circuits just give you a lot of flat increased movement speed, and also movement speed from the ring itself, right? This one have 70% increased movement speed, and the fingers here gives you swiftness. Now with this I have quite a bit of extra movement speed, and that setup was something that I went and basically run through all the way to like 400 corruption with. So that's something that you can choose to use if you are like having a decent setup already, right? It makes you just go through monoliths really fast and get you to endgame faster basically. In Lost Epoch you can snapshot minions, and what this means basically giving the minions the stats on the items that you were using when you spawn them, and then you can change your gear out to whatever you like here without affecting the minion. For example, for more health and defense. And for this build we can do that for the Manifest Armour, as we only summon it once basically. It's optional if you want to do it or not, but it can be good to know that it's super strong and real helpful once you get to higher corruptions. Around 600 corruption I felt like the Manifest Armour started to lose its survivability, and maybe starting to focus more on health regen and life to make it stay more alive. But you also have items to boost the damage as well, and the first obvious is going to be Surfer's Step here. This provides a 100% melee critical strike multiplier, and this also getting doubled for Manifest Armour if you take a look on the actual skill. And that's going to be from the Steel Greaves here, which increase the bonus from the stats on the boots by 240%. So that's a huge amount of multiplicative damage that you get from those boots alone. And then you also have a extra chest, for example, and same goes here. If you take a look once again on the Manifest Armour, you have Force of Impact providing flat damage here per 10 armor on our chest. So getting something like this, you have a a champion regalia with the 700 armor for the base here, and then you can get 2 suffixes for extra armor basically, and also if you get increased melee damage, this will also get increased to the manifest armor as well. So this is purely for damage with extra bonuses as well. Plate mail boosting the stats here 160%, providing even more from this. And then if you want to take the extra step, you can also get idols now, which are really strong in this season. For this, for example, you want to mainly focus on physical penetration, and then you can also get hybrid with increased physical damage as well. So this is something, if you really want to mid-max, nothing that you really need, but it's really nice to have these armor sets at least, or something like it. The most important one being the boots, boosting the damage by a ton, and then like the relic and the belt, I just went with the health regen. That's going to be around 400 health regen from this. And if you take a look on our manifest armor here, you do get this one. It's 50% increased effect for this, so it's a 50% more for that, and then you also get even more regen from your symbol of hopes. 80% in total, as we are using 4 of them, and some extra bonuses as well here, so around 100 on top of that. And that's felt really nice for the manifest armor, and just make it stay more alive basically. Now we take a look on the blessings here. The first one is going to be from the Black Sun. Here I just went with pure health. The other one, Reign of Dragon. Here we went with all resistance. And here, ending the storm, we went with the health regen, with the flat regen here. Super strong for this build. And also this one is very important, the Age of Winter, and this one gives you block chance with block effectiveness. This one really helps you to get yourself to cap. And for the last one, from Spears of Fire, you get flat armor while channeling. Now let's go over the scales here real quickly. Forged Strike, which is going to be the skill that are scaling our forged weapons. We are starting here by Forge by Fire, providing extra flat damage to our weapons here, plus 40. We have well forged weapons here, which will increase the duration of the forged weapons and also the maximum amount of weapons that we can have. And then here we have Forged Master, have a small chance to convert to Great Axe, just boosting the area and also the damage by those weapons. Then we have Light Forge. Here we get 20% extra forged weapon attack speed from this, with other perks that we don't really care about. And then Heavy Strike, just a damage multiplier alone by 75%, which is awesome for us. And then Engine of War, increase the area that forged weapons deal. And then we have one small node left here in mass production, which is something that we don't really use that often, but we don't really have anything else where we do benefit from it. Next one, Manifest Armor, and Manifest Armor, as mentioned earlier, is something that we can snapshot and is super helpful for this build. The first nodes that you want to go for is going to be Iron Grasp, increase the glove stats that we are using, all the extra attack speed from the Falcon Swift will also apply to Manifest Armor, which is awesome. Then we have just a damage multiplier alone here, 60%, which is even more awesome. And the Titan Sword will make us equip, or give us the stats from the weapon that we are using to the Manifest Armor, so we start to scale from it. Now if we take a look here, I have some point in Great Helm, and then also Whirlwind. So Whirlwind is like the AoE attack that the Manifest Armor is using, and just helping with clear from time to time, but also a great single target ability. It's just a lot of damage from this, basically like 4 times a normal attack, so it's very awesome to use, but mostly for helping out with clearing. 4 points in Steel Greaves. This will increase the stats of the boots. This was for those one here, Sovereign Step, which is super awesome. You get 100% from this critical melee multiplier, and this will get boosted by 240%, providing over 300% from those boots alone, which is insane. Then we have plated mail, stats from armor will get increased by 106%. Force by impact will give this manifest armor flat physical damage per 10 armor on your chest piece, and this only works with the flat armor and will not work with increased armor, so do keep that in mind. And then the last points just for some extra health regen to get ourselves to laminate metal here, which will boost the health regen from the other items that we are using. And last point in bulwark just to get a health multiplicative to the minion here. Void Cleave is what we are using for some mobility, but mostly to boost damage to our minions. But Gravity Edge here is what makes this a traversal skill, which is very useful to have. And also Abyssal Walker here makes the max distance further, so you can charge this into longer distance. Hellish Chase here makes us all the base damage convert to fire, nothing really important there, but Molten Blades here is what we are looking for. When you use Void Cleave and hit at least one enemy, you may gain a stack of Molten Infusion for 4 seconds, granting them additional melee fire damage. Super awesome here, and if you put more points here, you get more stacks basically, for even more damage. And the last one here, Scothing Patch, will make those infusion, providing a larger effect, right, boosting those even more for more damage. And this node makes it so you no longer can just hit the enemy, you need to pass through your minions to apply the buff to them, right? Dark Path just makes the cooldown recovery or give you increased cooldown recovery for the skill. And then the last point, I just went with Frying Strike here, providing Void Rest Shred stacks. Void Rest Shred stacks will get converted to Fire Shred chance by using this. So this helps out with all this flat fire damage that you apply to your minions, and just makes them deal even more damage from these stacks also. Warpath is something that we are using to spawn our minions. This is over here for master stance, and you want to put 5 points in moving forge, and this will make them summon faster your forge weapons. Quick wind is really important here. You get movement speed, and by default by using Warpath you get slower movement speed, so this will just give us back that movement speed, basically not everything but most of it. 5 point in Juggernaut stance. This will give you the block chance to make yourself capped with some extra block effectiveness as well here. And then we are using 3 point here in Unchained for negative channel cost, and 1 point in Reckless Spin. Now you could go with 2 points here and also 1 point here, save yourself 1 point, but if you have 3 point here, this makes it so Warpath will get free, and you will regain some mana over time when you are channeling Warpath. And if you're only using 2 points here, you will not start to regain your mana back, and can be a little bit troubling if you are using like Shield Rush for example and Void Cleave a lot of times, and yeah, then you will get some mana problems. So I do really recommend you put 3 points here to get this work basically. Last is Symbol of Hope, providing buff to ourselves and our minions. You get 3 additional fire damage and increased health regen from the base itself or those by default. Then you will improve those by additional 3 from these nodes here. You get 25% increased damage by using these, and also here you have 20% increased critical strike chance per symbol. You have at this way here +1 to maximum symbol, and then the last 3 point I just went with Symbol of Righteousness to boost these buffs from our symbols for our allies, which is going to be our minions. So a little bit buff there, more damage and more regen from the Symbol of Hope. And then you can also use this as a panic button. You take less damage per symbol here. We have 4 of them, and so that's 20% less damage taken if you would activate this, but mostly I just make them be, just leaving them around and just providing buffs to us. If this is your first time leveling up a Sentinel, I would just recommend you going with Warpath, starting with that, and then just put your points on Void Spiral. It's super strong early on as you get flat damage from this, and if you are using a two-hander, it just gets doubled, which is, yeah, it's super strong early on when you don't have access to any uniques or leveling gear. And what I also went with for the second one was Reeve, and here you want to go for Bound Weapon. So this basically gives you a chance to spawn the forged weapons here on kill, and you also have a small chance to spawn them when you're hitting a bosses or a rare enemy. So this is going to be your basic setup at start, and then once you get to around level 15-20, when you get to ascend to your actual class, the Forge Guard, then you get access to Forge Strike. So what I did was respect from Warpath into Forge Strike instead, and then just put our points on Forge by Fire first, providing tons of flat damage to the weapons, and then I like to put 1 or 2 points in Light Forge just to get some cooldown recovery, and this basically just makes it so you can use Forge Strike on packs from time to time, and you usually just need to use them once because they do deal quite a bit of damage while doing the campaign. One tapping the pack and also spawning some minions for you. And then for the next one, I went with the Void Cleave. Same here, it's super strong. You want to spec first into Gravity Edge here, so you make it a mobility skill, and then you're going this path here for the buffs, which makes us buff the minions for us, basically providing even more flat damage. And Void Cleave itself also deals quite a bit of damage early on the campaign, so you can actually use this as a clear mobility also. But this is basically how I start out, and you can start by spawning your minions quite early on, and once you get to around 40 or so, this is when I would actually start to focus on getting Warpath up and running. And the important note is going to be you have 2 points on Unchained, 1 point in Reckless Spin, so you don't have any channel cost basically, and then this path here will make you spawn the forged weapons, and I usually put like 3 points in here, and then I will go for the movement speed so I don't lose out on that too much, and then you are ready to go. Now let's take a look on the passives that we are using, some of the more notable ones. The first one is going to be Stalwart here, and you get 3% block chance from one of these nodes alone, which is super useful. You have another one on Forge Guard here. Here we'll need to put 3 points though to be able to get this bonus here. Another 3% from this, and you can also go with the Paladin if you need it. With the Honor one here, also 3 points for 3 extra block chance. I don't need it right now, so I don't have to use that, but it can be good to know at least. Other than that, this one Guardian here is super useful. A lot of flat health and also increase to health regen, and we are using Folded Steel. This gives you a lot of flat physical damage and also giving you some extra +2 to maximum forged weapons here from the bonus itself, which is insane. And also here's another one that I'm not using right now. Hammer of Anvil is actually something that can be quite useful. You get the Minion armor shred chance here, which is really awesome. But for me, my emphasis more here gives us 300% chance to shred armor on hits. We don't really need it. Now another point here is also that you do get increased minion attack speed when you are using a skill that costs 20 or more mana, but this is something that I'm not using that much anymore. You could still go and spec into it if you want to. Now I usually just use Shield Rush most of the time basically, and if you would want to, you could just change here for bosses, for example. You can use Forge Strike and pop this bad boy down from time to time, and this will then enable this point, basically giving you additional 30% of minion attack speed. But yeah, I'm using Shield Rush. This also technically activates it, because it do cost over 20 mana, but it's no big great combo because you want to put the hammer down and then charge through your minions, right, giving you the attack speed and the extra flat damage. But you can't do this with Shield Rush because they are traversal skill, both of them, so do share the cooldown. Now So that's out of the way. Some other points are really useful. Might, you get percent life here. Infinite bulk is one of the most important ones for this build. With 4 points in here, 100% of your armor is also healing your minions. Now this build, when you are up and running, you have over 8k armor basically with this build. So each time you put a heal, you will heal your minions for 8k, which is really awesome and strong, and it can really help out on the bosses and stuff like that. And yeah, I would not play without the 4 bonus here from this. Now 5.0 liquid iron, you take less damage over time, and this is also when you are using a potion. This is also doubling when you are using a potion. Basically, you get 15 without the potion, but you get 30% when you are using a potion. And this is very nice for some extra damage mitigation from this. Iron Achievement is something that I'm not been focusing too much around, but Achievement just is boosting damage and also providing flat health to our forged weapons, so it's really nice overall for a minion build when you're playing Sentinel here. But yeah, the 5 bonus here, you do get extra damage over time mitigation from armor per 2 Achievement. So basically giving you armor mitigation, half of your achievement, right? I think I have around 20 right now. This is also something that you can actually try and get more of, replacing like minion damage on your gear and try to focus on achievement instead. And I feel that's actually worth it. So you can keep that in mind, because you do get the benefits for your character itself, right, from the bonus here. Now we're also using Wall of Solaris here. You get the less damage taken, 5%, and it's going to be doubled. We are over 50% block chance here, so we get 10 from this, and also a nice 3% extra block chance as well from these nodes. Now here you have Shield Crafter. I really like this because you do get increased minion health and armor to help them to stay alive a little bit longer, and you also have some chance to get the cost shield on the block here, and these shields also provide some extra block effectiveness, so why not basically. And then Forge Master Might, which is one of the new passives for Sentinel here, and this makes us able to equip a shield along with a two-handed axe, mace, shield, or spear. You do deal some less damage both for you and your minions, and also get some less attack speed. And but yeah, it's really nice. You do get your block cap, and it's just huge defensively and absolutely worth taking it. I have some of my last points in Master of Arms. You do get strength from this. It's 2 per point, and you get increased armor by getting strength. I actually feel it's really worth using this, and also you get a little bit chance of frailty here as well with a shield equipped, right? So this means that you are applying frailty when you are warpathing through enemies, and frailty makes it so the bosses deal, or the enemy that have the debuff deals less damage basically. So more survivability with this as well. So I just went with some extra points here to get that extra bonus basically. Now on Paladin, attunement with elemental resist, you get even more health here, and some extra health with necrotic resistant, and you get the flat health reading as well as an extra bonus here. And for Void Knight, we have Abyssal Endurance here. Great with some extra resist and also health, but the bonus here also makes us take less void and physical damage also, which is awesome. If you do have any other questions, feel free to drop a comment and I try to answer them as soon as I can. This video went a little bit over expected with the length here, but yeah, it's a lot of cover, and I felt like we went over basically most of it, and hopefully it will make you able to start this and wanting to try it out at least. Now with that said, thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!